Ever heard of Made in America getting outsourced by America's most patriotic brand? John Deere just did it, and Trump is having a meltdown. In the heart of rural America, where green tractors are more than machines, something earth-shaking just happened. John Deere, the century-old emblem of American agriculture, has dared to challenge the unspoken rule of Trump's MAGA economy. Never step out of line with his America First agenda. But Deere didn't just step out. It packed up, expanded overseas, and in doing so, turned the tables on Trump's trade tantrums. The result? A political firestorm, a threatened 200% tariff, and a war of ideals that could redefine what it means to be American-made in a globalized world. But what just happened that has Trump furious, but equally helpless? In this video, let's find out. John Deere wasn't supposed to be the villain in this story. For decades, the name Deere meant durability, trust, and deep ties to American soil. It represented images of green tractors gliding across Iowa fields, family-owned farms, and generations of hard work. It was as much a part of American identity as apple pie and Friday night football. Through the Great Depression, 2 world wars, and countless economic downturns, John Deere held the line. So when the company made the decision to shift parts of its operations abroad, it didn't come with fanfare or defiance. It came as a calculated, strategic move to survive the complexities of the 21st century global economy. But survival doesn't sit well with political theater. Earlier this year, John Deere announced plans to expand manufacturing and operational bases overseas. It wasn't some hidden offshoring scheme. It was a transparent effort to stay competitive in an industry being rapidly reshaped by rising costs, technological innovation, and volatile geopolitics. With markets in Latin America, Asia, and Africa booming in demand for agricultural machinery, the company needed to pivot toward a more decentralized model. This wasn't just about cost-cutting. It was about insulating the brand from unpredictable tariffs, managing supply chain bottlenecks, and preparing for a world that no longer revolves solely around American consumption. However, this kind of rationality doesn't fit in Trump's America First narrative. For a man whose image hinges on the return of a 1950s industrial utopia, Deere's move was an act of war. From a campaign stage in Pennsylvania, Trump roared back like a wounded patriarch, betrayed by his golden son. Therefore, he threatened to impose a 200% tariff on any Deere product made abroad and re-imported into the United States. The message was crystal clear: fall in line or fall apart. And with that, Trump ignited a firestorm, turning one of America's most iconic companies into a political punching bag. But Deere didn't flinch. Here's why. Where other companies might have backpedaled in fear, John Deere held its ground. CEO John May and his team issued no groveling press release, no walk-back, no attempt to pacify Trump. Instead, they offered a quiet but firm reminder to the public. John Deere is a global company, not a political prop. Deere has customers in over 130 countries and factories in 30. Its tractors, combines, and engines are used in rice paddies in Vietnam, wheat fields in Ukraine, and cotton farms in India. Global agriculture doesn't revolve around Pennsylvania rallies or campaign slogans. It revolves around strategic adaptability, technological advancement, and market reach. And for Deere, staying still would have meant falling behind. Their engineers, many of them American, aren't ideologues. They are problem solvers. They are not chanting slogans. They are drawing blueprints. Their mission isn't to make Trump happy. It's to keep Deere competitive. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room. The conditions Trump decries were created, in part, by the very system he champions. Rising domestic labor costs, aggressive environmental regulations, and raw material shortages have made it harder than ever to manufacture heavy equipment in the U.S. without pricing yourself out of the market. So while Trump blames outsourcing, Deere points to cold economic facts. They didn't leave to betray the heartland. They expanded to keep it alive. In truth, Deere's move wasn't a declaration of rebellion. It was a reflection of economic reality. However, for Trump, who depends on outrage and symbolic victories, this was the perfect chance to strike. Trump's threats weren't just words into the wind. They were aimed squarely at the jugular of American agriculture. A 200% tariff sounds like tough love, but in practice, it's a fiscal chainsaw. If enforced, this tariff wouldn't just hurt John Deere. It would hammer every farmer who relies on Deere machinery to get the job done. A $300,000 combine could jump to $600,000. Replacement parts could double. Repair services could skyrocket. And in an industry already staggering from fuel price hikes, droughts, and thinning profit margins, this could be the last straw. Small and mid-sized farms, the backbone of rural America, would suffer the most. Unlike massive agribusinesses, they can't absorb price shocks or delay equipment upgrades. For them, every dollar counts. And with Trump's tariff, every dollar could be a dollar lost. And the damage wouldn't be isolated. It would ripple. If countries like Brazil, China, or India respond with counter-tariffs, John Deere could be boxed out of the very markets it's banking on for future growth. American-made products would become more expensive overseas, pushing international buyers toward cheaper alternatives from Kubota or Mahindra. What started as a domestic protest could mutate into a global crisis for Deere's export model. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video, and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on the latest news stories on geopolitics, economics, and current affairs impacting your lives. We have seen this before. Back in 2018, Trump imposed sweeping tariffs on steel and aluminum, promising to bring manufacturing back and punish China. Instead, U.S. manufacturers saw production costs surge. Companies like Harley-Davidson moved operations overseas to survive. Layoffs hit, prices climbed, and farmers found themselves on the losing end of retaliatory trade wars. It wasn't economic patriotism. It was an economic whiplash. And now history may be repeating itself. This isn't just about one company and one candidate. This is about a fundamental clash between corporate pragmatism and political posturing. Trump's nostalgia-fueled nationalism has always depended on the idea that America can somehow rewind the clock back to smokestacks and steel towns. But the world has changed. Manufacturing isn't coming back the way it once was. Automation, AI, and global logistics networks have altered the playing field forever. Deere knows this. That's why it's investing in global production, smart tractors, and precision farming tools. It's planning for the next 50 years, not the last 50. And while Trump may dominate the airwaves, Deere is building quietly, strategically, and globally. But make no mistake, the political cost could be real. A boycott by Trump's base could damage Deere's domestic market. Competitors may circle, investors may grow nervous. Yet for now, Deere is standing firm, not because it wants to pick a fight, but because it wants to survive one. And that may be the most American thing of all. This is where Trump's war with John Deere begins to cannibalize his own political base. His 200% tariff threat might make headlines, but it lands like a bomb in the heart of rural America, the very ground he once called Trump country. These aren't just any voters. They are farmers, mechanics, dealers, and families whose livelihoods depend on John Deere. For them, green and yellow aren't just branding. It's the machinery that plants the seed, harvests the crop, and drives the entire farm-to-table economy. But now, they are being asked to choose between their tractors and their candidate. Some, driven by loyalty to Trump's rhetoric, are already calling for a boycott, threatening to ditch Deere in favor of alternatives like Case IH, New Holland, or Kubota. But that's easier said than done. Deere equipment is part of an integrated ecosystem. From proprietary software that controls modern tractors, to tightly managed repair networks, to dealer-specific parts and servicing, switching brands isn't like swapping a phone plan. It's a full-on operational overhaul. It's expensive, it's risky, and for many, it's unthinkable. So here's the tension. Farmers are being pulled in two directions. On one side, their political loyalty. On the other hand, their practical survival. And the split is getting harder to manage. The longer Trump pushes his anti-Deere agenda, the more likely he risks alienating the very backbone of his voter base. For a movement built on supporting the forgotten American worker, this moment reveals a dangerous contradiction. And Deere knows it. This isn't just a spat between a company and a candidate. It's a philosophical showdown over the soul of American capitalism. On one side, Donald Trump is selling a vision of nationalist economics. Everything made in America, by Americans, for Americans. It's emotional, it's nostalgic, and it polls well in dying factory towns and red state heartlands. But it's also economically outdated. John Deere, meanwhile, is making decisions not based on speeches. Its global model is about scaling production across low-cost regions, accessing foreign markets, and insulating itself from geopolitical shocks. For Deere, this is not ideology. It's a necessity. Wall Street sees this clearly. Investors aren't weeping over Trump's threats. They are watching Deere's stock, eyeing new markets in Brazil, India, and Africa, and betting long. The street knows tariffs might rattle a few quarters, but globalization done right is the path to dominance. And Deere, with its bold expansion, just stepped ahead of the curve. But politics doesn't follow logic. It follows rage. And Trump's machine runs on it. If farmers really turn their backs on Deere, the company could suffer brand damage that no quarterly profit can repair. Still, Deere's defiance speaks volumes. Corporate America is tired of being dragged into loyalty tests and campaign stunts. And at this moment, one company has drawn a line. On one side, a billionaire populist clinging to a made-in-America fantasy. On the other, a century-old company refusing to be bullied, betting that modern economics will outlast angry tweets. This isn't just a fight over farm equipment, it's a referendum on the future. John Deere is betting that reality wins. That in a complex, interconnected global economy, you can't sustain growth with closed borders and backward policies. That loyalty, while important, doesn't pay the bills when parts cost double and trade doors slam shut. What do you think? Is Trump making American brands his enemies? Isn't it true that punishing American companies will ruin the American economy and encourage brands to relocate? In the comment section below, share your thoughts on whether Trump is making new enemies while the old ones are already taking advantage of the opportunity. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We bring the latest news stories on geopolitics, economics, changing world order, and current affairs. Things you need to stay informed. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.